Imagine the quiet hum of a Christmas Eve morning in Modesto, California, 2002. The streets are draped in holiday lights, families bustling with last-minute preparations. In a charming red brick house on La Loma Avenue, 27-year-old Laci Peterson should be nesting, her hands gently cradling the swell of her 8-month pregnant belly, dreaming of her son Connor's first holiday. She's the picture of joy, radiant, organized, the kind of woman who bakes cookies for neighbors and laughs with that infectious warmth that draws people in. Her husband, Scott, kisses her goodbye around 9:30 a.m., says he's off for a solo fishing trip to the Berkeley Marina. Fishing on Christmas Eve? It's odd, but Laci waves him off with a smile, planning to walk their golden retriever Mackenzie later. She chats with a neighbor about holiday decorations. Then, silence. No scream pierces the air. No door slams. Laci vanishes from her own home, leaving behind a tangled leash and an empty nursery. Her family takes to the airwaves, voices raw with desperation. Whoever has her, please, please, please let her go. Bring her back. We love her so much. We want her and our grandson home safely. What kind of evil slips into a home on the holiest night and steals a mother-to-be without a trace? And why, when her husband returns, does he seem not quite right? Hey everyone, welcome back to Close Circle Crime Stories. I'm your host, and tonight we're peeling back the layers of a betrayal that feels like a punch to the gut. A story so intimate, so laced with deception, it clung to America's consciousness for decades. This isn't some distant serial killer tale. It's the slow poison of lies from the man who vowed to protect her most. The Laci Peterson case. We've seen the headlines, the documentaries, but we need to talk about it deeper. Because buried in the Christmas cheer was a darkness that still chills. If you're new here or just discovering these close circle horrors, hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications. Your support pushes these raw, undertold stories past the mainstream media gatekeepers, ensuring victims like Laci aren't forgotten in the true crime shuffle. Stick with me. This one's going to unravel you, piece by haunting piece. Let's step into Laci's world first, where everything gleamed on the surface. Laci Denise Rocha grew up in the heart of Modesto, a small-town girl with big dreams and an even bigger heart. Born on May 4, 1975, she was the brown-eyed beauty everyone adored, cheerful, studious, the one who'd organize community events without a second thought. She graduated from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo with a communications degree, but it was her spirit that shone brightest. Friends remember her hosting barbecues, her laughter echoing through the neighborhood, always with a homemade pie in hand. She met Scott Peterson in the early 90s at the Pacific Cafe in Morro Bay, where he was slinging plates as a waiter. Scott was 23, charming in that all-American way, tall, athletic, with a grin that promised adventure. He swept her off her feet, and by 1997, they were married in a fairy tale ceremony. They settled into that La Loma house, a fixer-upper turned cozy haven, complete with a nursery painted in soft blues and yellows for baby Connor. From the outside, they were Modesto's golden couple. Scott worked as a fertilizer salesman for a local irrigation company, bringing home steady paychecks, talking big about starting his own business. Laci stayed home, happily preparing for motherhood, joining a book club, teaching Bible study at church. They had date nights, vacations, the works. Neighbors saw them strolling with Mackenzie, arms linked, whispering like newlyweds. But doesn't that perfection always hide something? Think about your own life. Those couples you envy, the ones posting holiday cards. What whispers of doubt do you ignore? Laci's family loved Scott at first. Her parents, Sharon and Ron Rocha, welcomed him like a son. Yet, as we'll see, those closest bonds can blind us to the rot underneath. Christmas Eve dawned bright and ordinary. Scott loads his new 14-foot aluminum boat onto his truck, purchased just a month earlier from a nearby shop, oddly enough, and drives off to the bay. Laci, in her comfy maternity clothes, sips tea, maybe folds tiny onesies. Around 10 a.m., a neighbor waves hello. Laci mentions she's heading out soon to walk the dog. Mackenzie's leash is found later in the backyard, unzipped. The dog? Trotting loose down the street, wet from the creek, as if walked, but returned alone. Scott pulls back into the driveway at 5:17 p.m. No Laci, He calls a friend first, not 911, says she's gone, then police. His voice on the tape? Steady, almost casual. My wife is missing from our home. Officers arrive. The house is pristine. No blood, no overturned furniture. Just holiday decorations twinkling mockingly. Searches kick off immediately. Divers in dry creeks, cadaver dogs sniffing garages. Modesto erupts, flyers everywhere, vigils lighting up the night. Scott stands before cameras, eyes dry, thanking searchers. But detectives? They clock it. No raw grief, no demands to drag the bay. He's organizing golf games days later. Why does the husband seem more inconvenienced than heartbroken? Have you ever seen grief performed and felt that cold knot in your stomach? Weeks crawl by, and Modesto's hope frays. Volunteers, thousands strong, comb orchards, dredge ponds. The media frenzy peaks. Nancy Grace calls it the trial of the century before it even starts. Scott sells Laci's Land Rover for cash, dyes his hair blonde, grows a goatee, gets caught trying to flee to Canada with his brother, passports in hand. Bizarre shifts for a grieving widower. Then, the earthquake. Amber Frey, a massage therapist from Fresno, 27, single mom. Scott met her through a friend in November 2002, weeks before Laci vanished. He woos her hard. Dinners, flowers, promises of forever. Lies? He tells her he's childless, widowed young in a car crash. On December 9th, he calls, "I'm a widower this Christmas, December 23rd. Meet me tomorrow, Christmas Eve." Amber gets suspicious, contacts police on December 30th. Wires tap their calls. Scott spins tales of loss to her, all while Laci's posters blanket the town. Imagine Amber's shock, Laci's family's rage. Your partner, building a double life while you're folding baby clothes? That's betrayal's sharpest blade. Police zero in. Scott's alibi crumbles under scrutiny. Fishing on Christmas Eve? In 70-degree weather, no bites reported, no witnesses at the marina till late. His boat, stored dry, tests positive for cadaver scent in the hull. A single long hair, Laci's, DNA matched, wrapped in pliers from the boat's carpet. She never fished, hated boats. Garage? Freshly mixed concrete anchors, enough for 2 bodies, powder still damp. House reeks of bleach, cops gag on entry, yet luminol shows no blood. Strangulation leaves no mess, suffocation even less. Mackenzie's fur in the boat, oddly. And Scott? He researches tides on his computer days before. Coincidences stacking like dominoes. But where's Laci? Dry creeks yield nothing. The nation prays. What would you do if your sister, pregnant and beaming, just evaporated? Would you trust the husband golfing through the nightmare? April 13th, 2003, shatters the silence. A local man spots a body bobbing in San Francisco Bay near Point Isabel Regional Shoreline, miles from Modesto, but precisely where currents from the Berkeley Marina flow. Laci's remains, decomposed, ankles taped with duct tape, wearing vanished that day clothes. Next day, April 14th, Tiny Connor washes up a mile away, neck looped in plastic twine. Pathology paints horror. Laci strangled or suffocated, Connor dying in utero. His body expelled in a coffin birth. Decomposition gases, forcing him free, protected longer inside her, less decayed. Anchors missing from Scott's garage match weights recovered. Currents, mapped by experts, trace back to Albany Bulb. A secluded boat ramp near Berkeley, quiet on Christmas Eve. Scott's fishing spot. Dump site? Boat ride from home, body weighted, sunk till storms dislodge. Laci never saw that boat. Why there? Why anchors he mixed himself? Now, let's dig even deeper into the evidence that turned stomachs in the courtroom. Because these details aren't just facts, they're the threads of a nightmare woven tight. That boat Scott bought on November 15th, just weeks before Laci vanished, cost him around $3,000 in a cash-equivalent trade. It sat stored in a dry warehouse, untouched by Laci, who got seasick just thinking about water. 3 separate cadaver dogs hid on it, alerting in the hull, on the truck bed, even near the home dryers where bodies might have been hidden to thaw or dry. Then there's the hair, 15 centimeters long, with a rare queen medullae pattern matching Laci's at a 1 in 10,000 chance, confirmed by mitochondrial DNA. Anchors in the garage? 4 bags of concrete mix poured fresh, 2 weights recovered from the bay matching perfectly. Boat tests rocked a 200-pound dummy with minimal sway, stable enough for a dump during slack tide, a window Scott researched online days prior. These aren't loose ends, they're a map to murder. Scott's demeanor alone could fill a psychology textbook. That unnatural calm? Classic sociopath masking, charming 1 minute, detached the next. Phone taps with Amber post-disappearance catch him whispering, "I love you," as if Laci never existed. Golfing with friends days after she vanished, he slips. Warehouse video shows him smirking while dumping cement bags. Witnesses noting the glee. It wasn't grief, it was performance art for a man who'd already moved on. Laci's family fractured irreparably after the conviction. The Rachanas, Sharon, Ron, siblings Aiden and Brent, disowned Scott completely, their trust shattered like glass. Sharon poured her soul into the book, For Laci, a raw chronicle of grief that still guts readers. Annual vigils draw crowds, grave visits a pilgrimage. At Burwood Cemetery, Laci's stone reads, "Our angels in heaven, our brown-eyed girl." Connors, precious baby, contagious laughter, loving heart. It's heart-wrenching poetry carved in stone, a testament to lives stolen. Amber Frey emerged as the reluctant hero in this saga. A mother of 2, she met Scott on a blind date, his lies pulling her in like quicksand. Guilt over the deception drove her to police. Those tapes immortalized his web of deceit. Post-trial, she built a private life, but her courage echoes. Trial moments linger like smoke. Juror number 7 broke down, recalling the boat hair demonstration, its sway too perfect. Amber testified with steel in her voice. He said she was dead. Scott's own mother offered a weak alibi. Prosecutor Dave Harris hammered home the web of lies. It wasn't one smoking gun, it was a bonfire. Even after prison, appeals grind on endlessly. The Los Angeles Innocence Project's Katie Jackson claims exculpatory evidence ignored, pushing for duct tape DNA. But the burglary van across the street? No prints linking to Laci. Cadaver dog scents? Not fully admissible back then. Shadows but no light. This case forces reflections we can't escape. Close circles are deadliest, with stats showing 80% of women killed by intimates. Was Laci's unwavering trust her fatal flaw? Friends later admitted Scott grew distant pre-baby, red flags waving faintly. Evil brews in ordinary places. Modesto's parks and diners now carry ghosts. La Loma Avenue sits quiet, tourists snapping pics of the faded house. Berkeley Marina's slips echo empty, Albany Bulb where artists wander oblivious to its bloody history. Have you ever ignored red flags in a partner? What about those gut feelings friends dismissed? Drop your theories below. Burglary viable, or Scott's denial just a ploy? Scott's pre-marriage life hints at patterns. From an affluent family, dad in real estate, he broke off an engagement before Laci. Restlessness simmered. Laci's last hours teased more questions. Vanilla candles burned low. A neighbor glimpsed her around 10 a.m., rocking chair empty soon after. Investigation had missteps. Early fixation on Scott delayed full bay drags, though complex currents and April rains eventually stirred the truth. Media camped out. Greta Van Susteren in Modesto tents, tabloids screaming, "Monster Dad." Polls pegged public belief at 90% guilty. The cultural scar runs deep. Pregnant victims hit viscerally rare, evoking Casey Anthony, but with conviction holding firm. From a 2026 lens, true crime's boom revives it via Peacock docs. Innocence pushes in the DNA era. Will that tape yield burglar DNA or confirm the obvious? Narrating this grips me tight. Laci's smile haunts like a sister or friend lost. Connor's innocence stolen twice over twists the knife. Watching late night from Texas plains, Florida beaches, or New York subways? Share your city below. This community thrives on connection. Twists persist. Scott's appeals cry ineffective counsel, but Judge O'Rourke deemed the case ironclad. Victimology underscores the horror. Laci was fit, active, no easy mark. Home invasion solo strains belief when trust invited the wolf. Forensic depths chill. Autopsy showed no water in lungs, pointing to pre-death dump. Tape bore old marine growth. NBC's Boat Science rocked a fetal position dummy seamlessly. Amber's timeline. First date, November 20th. Scott claiming no kids baggage, deception mastered. Family dynamics peaked at Sharon's 2005 sentencing. You took everything from us. Grave pilgrimages continue, fans leaving flowers on epitaphs of poetic pain. Societally, did paternity fear drive the killer? Men fleeing responsibility turn violent too often. Is innocence plausible here, or just desperate ploy? Laci's legacy sparks awareness. Domestic violence spikes in pregnancy. Hotlines save lives. Listen to them. Christmas Eve's return. Lights mocking her absence, echoes lingering. Rest peacefully, Laci Denise and Connor Peterson, brown-eyed girl with precious smile, gone too soon, betrayed by the closest. This demands sharing. Comment. Guilty forever? Or innocence twist ahead? Subscribe for more betrayals unmasked. Stay vigilant out there. Stay safe. See you in the next Close Circle Nightmare.